Yesterday, Cam Hayward gave us a different official name for the match of the two 40-something-year-old quarterbacks.
Oldest quarterbacks playing this week. Let's go. Woo! Icy hot ball. I love it.
Icy hot ball.
As a big proponent of icy hot from my youth baseball playing days when sometimes you didn't put the icy hot on your arm. Let's be honest, on the bench.
Icy hot ball. I love it.
But also even now, I got an ache. Not to turn this into an icy hot ad here, but I'm a fan.
Ice up, son.
And when you got two 40-year-old quarterbacks going at it on a short week in Cincinnati, the first time, by the way, that two 40-something-year-old quarterbacks have squared off since 2020. It's only happened 3 times in NFL history.
It's got to be Brady and Breeze, right?
All 3 times, Drew Brees and Tom Brady. Yeah. The only other times that this has happened in NFL history. Aaron Rodgers also spoke on, he was asked about the novelty of that type of a matchup.
I think it's great for all the old guys, you know. I know that when I watch other sports, maybe it's because I'm the older guy, but I tend to pull for the older guys to win championships. I've been friends with Steph for a long time. Steph is one of the older guys in the NBA now. So anytime the Warriors are playing, I'm always pulling for Steph to ball out for them to win. But it's great. I mean, I've known Joe for a long time. He's been great coming to my charity event. He's been a great ambassador for the league. He's had a great career, and it's fun that we're both still playing.
A very nice way for Aaron Rodgers to say, I'm 3-0 all time against Joe Flacco. I think in this moment, I've got this thing. It's a pivotal moment in the season if you're the Bengals tomorrow night. It has the feeling of if you are going to make a run and get back in this, you got to win this game. Short weeks are weird. Doubt. Thursday night games are weird.
Yep.
But
they've been
on
good
your
this
home
year,
field,
too, though. A lot of points on these Thursday night games this year.
There have been. But I think that's part of the uniqueness of it. The game planning process is a little bit different. There's different things in terms of injuries, too, whether or not you're holding out guys who were injured on Sunday, or if they were injured the previous week, you held them out on Sunday, and they've basically got a 10, 11-day window to get back for the games. There's a lot of different factors in this. Everybody's got different theories in terms of how you handle the short week games. But for a Bengals team that's lost 4 in a row, and they played better and better through the course of that game in Green Bay. If you watch Joe Flacco, he had 2 days of work with Jamar Chase, not even 3, because Jamar Chase was sick and didn't practice on Friday. Right. He had basically no reps with his best receiver, but when you needed him to make a play down the stretch, and it's maybe the catch of the year by Jamar Chase in traffic by the pylon, but Joe Flacco puts that ball on him. And then that's a tough route if you haven't had the time on task with that wide receiver. If you're going to make a run, it's a lot easier to do it. Still hard, but a lot easier to do it at 3-4 by the way, knocking down the number 1 team in the division to 4-2. Heck of a lot easier than falling to 2-5 and then being in a spot where it's like you got to win 9 or 10 of your remaining 10 games to have a shot, at least 8 to even have a chance. The rest of the upcoming schedule, especially to the bye, the Jets, they're winless. That's a home game. You got the Bears, who have played better. Obviously, Caleb Williams had the most controlled game that he's had in his career on Monday night against Washington. Then you got the bye to heal up. You get another crack at the Steelers. It does get more difficult as you're looking at it after the bye, but you still got Baltimore twice on your schedule. And to the extent the Ravens have to claw back into it, they're 1-5. You split those games. You've done yourself a service. You lose a 5th straight game, and the questions going into Jets week around the team are probably not going to be so much about how do the Bengals get back into the playoff race. It's should they be selling at the trade deadline, which, by the way, hits during their bye? Ooh. It's right after that game against the Bears. That Tuesday is the trade deadline. It feels momentous. It also feels like the culmination of a storyline I don't feel like we've given enough time to over the past couple of days, because the quote came out on Monday while we were on. We briefly reacted to it on the show. But there is not one thing in the NFL that more people have called me about, more than why the Titans fired Brian Callahan after 6 games, more than what's going on in the trade market. I've gotten more questions about what Mike Tomlin had to say when he was asked about the Browns trading Joe Flacco in the division to the Bengals.
You know, to be honest, it was shocking to me.
Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us, because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area. But that's just my personal feelings.
From Cincinnati's perspective, did it make sense for them?
It certainly made sense from Cincinnati's perspective.
I've covered the NFL since 2003.
That quote does get funnier every time I hear it.
And the smile on his face when he's asked the follow-up, it makes sense for them.
Yeah, why wouldn't they do that?
I've covered the NFL for over 20 years, and it's possible I'm forgetting something. But I do not remember, whether it's joking or not, whether it's serious or not, and I'll get to that momentarily. I don't remember a head coach mentioning by name an opposing general manager in critiquing a trade that did not directly involve you. Ever. It does not happen. And it has created a ripple effect through the course of this week. And again, the media availability is different on a Thursday night game, too. Guys aren't around. The locker room's not open as often. Right. There's not as many press conferences. Kevin Stefanski, the Browns coach, was asked about it, said, in short, I have no comment on that. Bengals coach Zach Taylor also came up in his presser.
Tomlin spoke today about being surprised that the Browns would trade Joe Flacco to you. He said, it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area. Were you surprised that a team in division was willing to help you?
I was happy. That's my only comment.
I love that as Zach is hearing that question unwind, and whether he knew about the quote or not, I'm guessing he did, but he's almost trying to hold back laughter by the end of it, and you can see him kind of biting his lip about it. Yeah, you're happy. Now, again, we'll see what it means. They could get blown out by the Steelers on Thursday night. But at a time that Jake Browning, who you had counted on to be able to fill in if Joe Burrow were out, is turning the ball over at an unbelievable rate, this gave you a glimmer of hope. There's only one position at which you can make a sea change, and that is quarterback. The one spot where you can go, we brought this guy in, now everything's got a chance to be different. Whether that's real or not, there's more than a placebo effect. If Joe Flacco finds it, if he gets on track with one of the best receiver duos in the entire NFL, they've got some hope. Joe Flacco, not surprisingly, also was asked about Tomlin's comment.
I don't know. I didn't see it. I didn't get to see how upset he was. But, I think he's probably just playing the game a little bit and, doing whatever he has to do.
Here's what I would say. In exploring the dynamics, let's put it that way, of this comment over the past couple of days, I do not believe, and I'll let Mike Tomlin, if he ever wants to, speak for himself on this subject, but I do not believe that was Mike Tomlin playing the game. Every week, the Steelers, Tomlin has his press conference normally on Tuesdays, and he will go through talking about how great every player on the opponent is, the challenge they present. If you were facing the 0-6 Jets this week, he would talk about, Justin Fields is a problem. We had him here. He would talk about some of the players they got on defense, Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner.
No, Breece Hall.
He was going to say positive things regardless of any opponent. But I believe we got a very honest remark right there from Mike Tomlin. Because if you're watching the tape of Joe Flacco and the way that he has played under tough circumstances in Cleveland and under different but also tough circumstances last week, playing with guys, he was acquired 5 days before that game in Green Bay. And while they lost to the Packers, they were functional as an offense.
Oh, yeah.
Joe had some type of a foundation in it.
He was winging it.
Jamar Chase, by the way, real quick, also had a very brief comment on his feelings about the Mike Tomlin comment.
What did you think when you saw it?
I kept scrolling.
I think that should be the new, like, Mike, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
We need to clip off. I just kept scrolling.
Which, by the way, that's a good life policy.
Yep,
absolutely.
Yes.
In a lot of different areas here.
Keep scrolling.
But I believe that was Mike Tomlin's honest remark, which was, if you watch the tape and you watch where Cincinnati was, and you're trying to figure out why would you help a division opponent, I understand why you would be taken aback by it. Now, it's none of his business. It's none of the Steelers' business. The Browns and Bengals can make whatever trades they want. But I believe that that's really how Mike Tomlin felt. Why, if you thought Andrew Berry or any other GM made a terrible, illogical trade, you would call that out publicly rather than going, they're in the division. I want to keep somebody who's making bad trades in the division. That's a separate type of a conversation. Andrew Berry's a very smart guy. Okay, the Browns have had an up and down run throughout the course of his tenure, an up and down run since football returned to Cleveland in the late 90s. If you unpack why the Browns did make that trade, I've heard and I've had people propose various conspiracy theories to me over the past couple of days. The most compelling one, I don't believe it's true, the most compelling one was the Browns, who have put everything into 2026, going back to the Travis Hunter trade, trading down, getting Jacksonville's first-round pick next year, getting an upgrade of a pick in the Tyson Campbell trade, sending Greg Newsome, who's a better player. Why do you do that? Well, because you get a cost-controlled player and a higher pick by bringing in Tyson Campbell. And then to the Flacco trade. The best conspiracy theory I heard was, well, they may have been getting nervous that the Bengals would be so bad they wouldn't get to play a last-place schedule next year. So they had to make sure they helped them to ensure the Browns finish last. I don't actually believe.
I don't know, man. That's a pretty good one.
I don't believe that's the case. Could be the outcome.
That's some 4D chess right there.
The intent, it would be 3D chess, absolutely. The intent, I think, is much more straightforward, which is Joe Flacco is no longer the starter. They would have loved to win more games. They would have loved if they don't miss a field goal in week one to cost them a game that could have gotten them off on a better foot. When they played the Bengals to the wire with Joe Flacco at quarterback, once they benched Joe Flacco sooner than they wanted to because of where the season was, because Flacco struggled in Detroit, Joe Flacco was never playing again. Ownership, Jimmy Haslam said back in training camp, we absolutely need to see the rookie quarterbacks. Because when you got 2 firsts in 2026, you're going to be able to potentially go and get whatever quarterback you want in the draft. You got to know if these guys can play. And once Dylan Gabriel has an opportunity, he's played 2 games. They did not look particularly good last week, but it's also a rookie quarterback with all kinds of moving parts on his offensive line. No true number 1 wide receiver. They're going to give Dylan Gabriel some time. You also at some point need to see Shedeur Sanders. And elevating the guy who's been the emergency third and not even technically active on game day to the starting role would also be unusual. So you clear the decks of Joe Flacco. He wasn't going to be around, probably for the long haul if he wasn't playing anyway. Yeah. Certainly wasn't going to be coming back. You offload about $2 million in salary, and you upgrade from a 6th to a 5th round pick. That's really it. If you want to just baseline logic, the ideas of trading within the division have changed over time. We have seen far more, anecdotally speaking, in-division trades over the last, let's call it 5 years than I can ever remember seeing before. Because GMs go, okay, yeah, we got to face the guy twice a year. It impacts us kind of in a passive way in terms of the division standings. But if we feel like we're getting value, why do I care? The Vikings and Lions made multiple trades. The Vikings sent the pick for Jamison Williams to Detroit, and then they also acquired T.J. Hawkinson from the Lions because Brad Holmes and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah are both like, whatever, it's a trade. We feel like this is a good trade for everybody. We're just going to make a good trade. But the fact that you had Mike Tomlin come out and mention Andrew Berry by name, this is not the last we have heard of this. This is certainly not all you're going to hear about this in terms of the broadcast tomorrow night. I am sure that Al Michaels has that exact quote clipped off and written in big letters on his sheet. It will come up a few times with him and Kirk.
Never say never, but never.
Apparently, once in a while, the Browns and Bengals do indeed make a trade.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.